Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back to what are we gonna do this time, Dante?
I don't know. You said something about a BLT. I was trying to remember what it was.
Yeah, I guess we were more focused on lunch, huh?
Yep.
Anyway, if you don't know who we are, my name is Aaron or A. Goldman.
And I'm DJ Lewis.
Yes, and we are the founders, creators, owners, and
CEOs.
also hosts of your normally scheduled program,
Right.
which is Nerds of the Decade. But we also do more stuff. Than
Yeah, we
just
do
that.
unboxings and we also do extras too.
So yes. Anyway, we actually have a kind of a different type of episode for you guys today.
Yeah, something a little different.
And dude, how long do you think this will be? Just to give our audience an idea.
If I had to, it could probably be the length of like our extras episode, but not as long as like our newly scheduled podcast.
Yeah, and speaking of which, don't worry, the podcasts are not ending anytime soon.
No, they're not.
We do have stuff coming up. We're just doing a couple things in between that we haven't gotten a chance to cover.
Yeah, they take time to produce.
Yes.
They take time.
Anyway, dude, with that, let's jump directly into this one.
Alrighty, so anybody out there that is super interested in becoming anime podcasters like us.
Ooh, yes, or even a blog page or doing anime content on YouTube. Right, Dante?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, so for this one, we wanted to share our personal experiences in being anime bloggers.
And just some tips and stuff like that.
Yep.
With you guys.
Yeah, just some tips.
Mm-hmm.
But I think definitely the biggest one would be if you are going to become a YouTube anime reviewer.
Yeah, or even do stuff on YouTube, or even talk about anime on YouTube. Dante,
I would say the
recommend?
biggest thing would be definitely make sure that you ask permission from the anime studio, not just the anime studios themselves, but also the distribution that they come through from.
Yeah, reach out to a lot of your anime distributors, and
like
also
reach out to the PR department.
Yeah, reach out to PR departments and stuff like to make sure that if you're going to cover something, or if you're going to be showing whether it's images or if you're going to be doing clips or anything like that, make sure that you have permission. Because a lot of times some companies might not be okay with that, or the creator may not want some certain things. They may not want.
They may not exactly want it like reviewed or covered.
Correct, or it could be something where like they still have maybe it's still in production, or maybe they're still working on it, or even just could be under a strict copyright where. It may be something that you can put up on your YouTube channel or whatever.
Right.
Because the creator is just, is either the rules are different for that particular piece of content.
Yeah, depending on how their contract is formatted and everything.
Correct. So yeah, just check with reach out to the proper channels and make sure that you have permission to do stuff. A lot of times that's the biggest failure point for people doing anime stuff is they don't reach out to the proper sources and ask permission, or reach out to licensing companies and say, hey, look, we mean you no harm.
Right.
We are just covering and reviewing some of your stuff. So yeah, that's always a big thing is like make sure you reach out to the proper sources before you go doing stuff.
Right, and most of the time they would actually be okay with it, just as long as, of course, you get permission.
They might have stipulations. You might have to follow certain rules, but usually it's not a huge deal. But if they do, just make sure you're following whatever they tell you.
Right. I mean, as long as you tell them that you're using it for fair use, because that is a part of the Fair Use Act.
Also, be careful. Make sure you read the actual, like, when you look at copyright stuff, a lot of people don't understand fair use. Make sure you know and read about fair use to understand it correctly, because a lot of people get it wrong and they think, oh, just because you are using content or you are posting something and not you posting all the original stuff or whatever, that's fair use. It really depends on what you're doing and how you're using it, and also how much you modify of it, because if you don't tweak enough of it, or if it's not original enough, you could still get slapped with a copyright suit. So be careful. That's one thing that a lot of people, I think, don't understand, is that you have to make enough changes to something to actually be able to use it fairly without it being a problem with copyright.
Right, and also you definitely have to make sure that you don't plagiarize either.
I would also make sure that you understand the rules in wherever your source is. So if you're getting anime straight from Japan, or you are using stuff straight from Japan, make sure you understand the rules in Japan as well, because a lot of times rules are way different. There's a lot of red tape in, especially content from another country. Make sure that you understand the rules there as well, just because it helps to have a good understanding of both in case you do get slapped with like a lawsuit or something, or someone does try to sue you or whatever. You understand.
Or you get slapped with a copyright strike.
Correct, from YouTube. Yeah, just make sure you understand the rules in both places, wherever you are. So whether if you're in the U.S. or outside the U.S. or wherever you are, make sure you understand the rules where you are, and also the rules in Japan or wherever you're getting your anime from.
Right.
Same thing applies, I would think, to movies and stuff like that. If you are someone who downloads films or whatever, or downloads digital episodes, you want to make sure you understand copyright rules, because a lot of times you can download stuff and you can watch it yourself.
Right.
But it gets into a whole other situation when you try to go sharing that stuff, which could be a problem. And I don't recommend doing any of that. I don't recommend sharing digital content online at all, because you can get sued.
Yeah, especially if it's not even released yet.
Correct.
And I think that's actually, I think the reason why so many anime studios are kind of strict like this is because of how big piracy has gotten.
Yes.
Within the anime industry.
Now, I think that one of the things that I will say though with doing with that is that I think that prices for anime and prices, because of the increase in prices with everything, that's why people are switching over to pirating, which is bad. Don't pirate your stuff. Buy DVDs or buy digital episodes if you have to.
Yeah, the whole, honestly, the whole thing with pirating and dude, I'm gonna honestly, this is kind of something I kind of want to get off my chest just a little bit about pirating.
Mm-hmm.
Us anime fans are so. This is actually one of the most divisive situations that a lot of anime fans can be, because you kind of got to look at it from both sides. On the one hand, the reason why so many people do or are going the pirate route is because Crunchimation.
Crunchination.
Yeah, Crunchimation.
Fun sized. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Crunchyroll and Funimation. Right? It's too tempting to make a Snickers commercial out of the two names put together.
Yeah, I literally feel like buying a Twix now. So.
I know. I'm like, I'm actually getting hangry. Just
I know. Just thinking about it.
It's crunchy, but it's fun.
Right.
It's Funchyroll. The new Funchy Scrunchy. It will keep your hair in place and entertain you at the same time.
And it's edible.
Yeah.
And chocolate and
you can
vanilla.
Eat it. It sounds like a commercial. You know what? That's what Funimation and Crunchyroll should come up with. They should come up with a anime scrunchie for ladies' hair, right? Hair accessories by Funchyroll.
Or Crunchimation, whatever.
Yeah, Crunchimation. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Anyway, but sorry guys.
Yeah, well, that's our segue for our serious moment here. But honestly, I think the reason why there's so much division with this particular subject is the fact that on the one hand, I kind of look at it from a fan's perspective where they can, at the moment, if oh boy, especially if you live in, especially if you're one of those anime fans that doesn't really have a whole lot of money to work with.
Okay, so remember, streaming services don't help this situation either. Because raising prices and hard times hurts everyone. But, dude, that's not really what I was getting at.
Right.
I actually was getting more at the actual licensing companies themselves. And we won't mention anybody directly, because
licensing and localization.
Yes, licensing, localization, and then also just companies in general. There have been, and that's what I was gonna.
Well, right.
There have been certain companies. We won't mention you directly, but there are certain companies out there who will go after YouTubers and anime blogs for copyright, even if you have reached out to the proper sources and you do have certain permissions to do certain things. That is one thing you want to watch out. It's a red flag. Be careful, because like I said, rules are different in different countries, and some places are very strict about their copyrights. So
it's
like
definitely one of those things that you.
So be careful. There are certain companies that, like I said, I'm not going to name, but who are responsible for some big titles that are very strict about copyrights. Mainly, I'll just use this as an example, but mainly Disney. Never mess with the mouse, because they will sue you faster than an MMA fighter with a sword. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Yes. So don't mess with Disney. And then there's a couple other ones out there where just don't be careful what you do. And make sure you reach out to the proper sources.
Right.
Just to be safe. So yeah, other than that, the actual channel itself is not hard.
It's not.
If you are able to put together a good name for yourself, and then also have maybe, I don't know, some original content, or produce some original content yourself, that's a good way to start.
Right.
As for talking about anime in general, you can, but like we said, you always do want to reach out to the proper sources if you're going to talk about anything, or at least make sure you have some kind of original piece to show, or whatever that you've created or you've edited enough where it's not going to be flagged as copyright.
Right. I mean, you can basically talk about anime from like your personal perspective.
Yeah.
Within the community, like what you've seen, how the community can be better. Yeah. How certain anime shows can be better. Yeah, what the studios can try and do.
Yeah, and you can give your opinions. You can talk about things that you like and don't like, pros and cons, stuff like that. That's all pretty much stuff that a lot of fans, and also some of the production companies want to hear your opinions sometimes too. They want to hear from their fans. Yeah. So that's something you can do. And then also, if you're lucky enough, or if you're able to, the other thing that you can do is you can look for press release articles that some companies put out, which some of the press release stuff that companies put out, like I think Funimation does a press release, and I know Crunchyroll does one. Yeah. So if you're able to find those, usually on the website of that, whoever the licensor is or whoever the distributor is, they sometimes will have a section for press release articles. And if you do see one, that's stuff that you can actually talk about and not get in trouble for. Just make sure that you don't copy it directly.
Right. Don't plagiarize it.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you have your own opinion and your own kind of thoughts on it. Don't copy it directly, because you will get sued for copying directly.
Yeah. So try to. I would say definitely you can summarize it in your own words. Mm-hmm. Try to be a little bit creative about it.
Yeah.
In your own way.
Yeah. You can add, there are certain pieces you can take from it, but just don't copy directly. Yeah, off of it. Right. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, dude, anything else you want to say about starting?
I would. Other than that, I say definitely the next one would be, just make sure that you do your research if you are going to be talking about certain anime titles.
Especially controversial topics. And also,
there's a lot of those.
There's a lot of things where you don't want to start fights either if you're going to be doing, you can get into controversial topics, but you never want to start a fight or get people riled up or too angry about something, because that could cause a problem with not only the fan base, but it also could lead to either one of your favorite titles losing money, or it
can lead to a delay in production.
Yeah, or problems with selling the actual anime itself.
Right. So, I would say in terms of controversial topics, because again, there's a lot of those. You definitely want to make sure that you're mindful about how you approach it. Don't try to pick one side or the other, or don't try to say that one side is wrong and this side is right.
Yeah.
Try to go at it from a gray area perspective.
And you want to also be kind of mindful of trying to see both sides of that coin. If the production is having issues, or if the show is maybe there's something wrong with the original story and they had to go back and change it, or whatever, just make sure you try to see both sides.
Or the direction didn't exactly go the way that
they wanted. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, now look, we're not saying that you can't say, hey, I don't like this show. You can definitely say, look, I'm not a fan of this, or I didn't like this particularly, but just be careful of how you go about it. And then also, I'm guilty of this sometimes myself, is that you get really wrapped into it and you're like, this frickin' sucks. It's like, well, you can't, you don't want to do that too much, because you can really harm the that production or that.
I got to remind him about this a lot.
So just be careful of how much you put out there and stuff. You can voice your opinion without doing it, without being too destructive to the actual series itself.
Yeah, constructive criticism is fine, but just don't be destructive about it.
Yeah.
Is what we're trying to say.
Yes. So yeah.
But yeah, I would say that between those two things, I think the third one would be if you do indeed have a brand or how you're going to like brand yourself.
Yeah.
In terms of how you do your content.
Make sure you do some research on marketing and business.
Yep, marketing and advertising.
That's a big thing that people forget. They start something.
They basically have like so much fun promoting the brand. Like, hey, we got this. Hey, we got that. Yeah. But they actually forget the other two critical pieces that actually make the brand work.
True, and a lot of people start doing stuff, and they have so much fun doing it, they completely forget about. Hey,
once
this
it
could
gets,
actually be.
Once it turns into
something.
Once it turns into an actual career, you're gonna need funding and you're gonna need promotion.
True, and you might even need some help. You want to make sure you consider like, hey, if you need help with stuff, if it gets out of hand, which this is something that we kind of are kind of guilty of, where it gets a little out of hand and it's hard to manage, you're gonna need some help.
DNA kind of ran away from us. Yeah,
you're right,
as we've been doing this, like we're on year 7.
Yeah,
year 7 is next year.
And the whole kind of thing kind of got away from us quickly, and it got bigger than we ever thought it would.
Yeah. Never have we thought that DNA would grow this fast,
and this much
in this amount of time.
And never did we ever think that we'd be able to do as much as we're able to do now.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
And we also wanted to give a big shout out and thank you to Crunchyroll.
or Crunchimation.
Yeah, Crunchimation or Crunchyroll and Funimation for their help in this, because we have reached out to them as well as Viz and a couple other people. So it's always good to reach out to your sources and reach out to the production companies, because they can also be a big help in helping you with you just being able to do stuff and talk about stuff that you probably might not be able to normally because of copyright or because of your licensing issues.
True, definitely. But I would say definitely make sure that you're at least a bit familiar with marketing and advertising, and also if you have to, draw up some blueprints.
Yeah, blueprints are always a good thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I would say between those three things, I
think also, you know what also helps, Dante, is visualization. Having something to go from, whether it's an article, whether it's maybe you're looking up information on anime and you're going off of like bits and pieces, but make sure you do put it in your own words, because you don't want to copy directly off of anything.
If you have to script it, then you can do that.
Yeah, you can script it. Some people like I'm really good at this. Like some people are great at looking at information and then just kind of making up their own thoughts.
Summarizing it.
Yeah, and summarizing it in their own words quickly and easily. So if you're someone who can do that, that's cool. Just make sure that you don't kind of repeat yourself, because it is easy to like.
It's so easy to like read it automatically through.
Yep.
But definitely.
I've done that once or twice.
You don't worry. You're not the only one. I'm guilty of that too.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, ultimately, if you're able to do those 3 or 4 things, I would say the 5th thing is to actually have fun doing it. Don't see it as like. Yeah. Don't see it as like a regular job, like, I feel obligated, I got to do this.
Okay, so there is a certain point, and this is, I think, what we kind of did and we forgot about
balance.
There's a certain point where, you want to have balance, but you also want to remember that even though you're having a lot of fun doing something, don't ever lose that fun, but be aware that, like, if you do start something and it does go really well, and it does get to a point where, hey, you're starting to become a business, you then have to be like, hey, look, you still want to have that fun, but you also want to keep in mind that you are getting to a point where you do want to think more in that business frame of mind.
Right.
But don't lose the fun factor, is what I'd say. Still keep that fun factor. Still keep the heart of whatever it is you're doing and whatever inspired you to do that. Keep that around and don't lose that piece, because that fun piece is what's going to keep you going.
Exactly.
If you really have fun doing it and you like doing it. So but you also keep in mind that you may get to a point where, hey, your brand might turn into a business.
It might really take off.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So.
Also, dude, what about timing? You want to make sure if you start something, you got to make sure you have a good time and make sure you have a topic that is going to be that people are going to be into, right?
Well, I would say definitely scheduling. Make sure that you have like a schedule that you're able to stay on, and if for some reason you kind of fall off, you kind of let your fans know.
True. Yeah, that's something that we've had trouble with.
It's
somewhat,
It's been a challenge, but we've been managing.
The other thing I'd say is that if you're going to get into something, or if you're going to think about doing stuff like this, do it as quick as possible, because a lot of times the earlier you get into something, or the earlier you start doing something, it gives you more of a shot, because if whatever that topic is, whether it's anime or whatever, that topic might become big all over the world, or might go global, or it might be something that a lot of people are talking about currently. Right. And so, like with us, when we started in 2016, we started at a good point, because then anime blew up after we started doing
this. Anime was really anime was like really close to being on the mainstream level right around that time, right around the 2010s. So we kind of started right at the second half of the 2010s, which was pretty cool.
So I mean, like getting started quickly is another good thing, because if you do get started fast, you may catch that wave of, hey, this particular topic that I'm doing, or this brand that I'm starting is catching on, and it may take off faster than you initially thought.
Right.
So
that was the case for us.
Yeah. So I mean, guys, if you're doing whatever you're doing, and more people are becoming streamers and gamers, and doing anime, doing stuff about anime and talking about anime, and doing more YouTube stuff, and whatever you guys do, don't be afraid to just jump in and do it. Just go for it. So especially now where times are tough, right? And the jobs are tough, and
it's a lot going on.
A lot of people aren't making enough money and stuff. So I mean, go for it. If you got an idea and you're really passionate about something, go for it.
Yep.
That's the one key thing too, is that be passionate about whatever you're doing.
Definitely. So, don't let it turn into a job that you absolutely don't feel like you have to be obligated to keep doing it. Definitely keep the fun factor, but also keep a little bit of that business mindset. And you do all that, what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
True, that's true.
It won't even feel like work.
But you also can't be afraid to take that first jump, take that huge leap.
Yeah.
And just kind of jump in and go.
Yeah, take a leap of faith.
Yeah, take a leap of faith, and just put yourself into it and just go for it. That is something where, like, if you're someone who's like, I'm not sure, or I don't know, or like, you just gotta try it. Just kind of jump in and go for it. See how it turns out.
Yeah, definitely.
So I need to take my own advice, because there is something I'm thinking about that I personally have been thinking about doing for a long time that I have not done yet, and I should really take my own advice. I won't say what, because I'll give it away. But and I think you and I both could actually do this too eventually.
Eventually,
The problem is our time schedule. We really got to work that out. But I think I think we'll be able to handle that. Again, guys, timing is a good thing. Manage your time, and make sure you have a schedule, because that can really mess you up.
Right, definitely.
You're not.
So before we go, quick overview.
Yes.
Number 1, make sure you get permission. Please make sure.
Reach out to the proper sources always.
Exactly.
Because you don't want to get sued.
Exactly. Number 2, make sure you do your research. The last thing you want is, there's so much misinformation out there about certain stuff. So
correct.
Please make sure you
make sure you have updated information for whatever you're talking about. Because a lot of things, new stuff comes out, new information comes out, new shows come out, new seasons of stuff comes out. So make sure you just have all your updated information about whatever it is that you're doing.
Right, and don't plagiarize. Don't
do not plagiarize. That's not a good thing. You don't want to get sued for plagiarism. Make sure you summarize things in your own words, and just Yeah,
and number 3, if you have some money saved up, hey, get some podcast equipment. It's not ours is not super expensive.
I would say I would put it the way Joshua Seth put it. Don't be afraid to spend a little money on your equipment. Like, yes, you can technically start a channel, a YouTube channel, and start a brand with just a phone and stuff like that. But would you really want to do that? Probably not. You'd probably want to have a little bit better equipment just so you sound and look decent.
Right.
That is part of starting a brand or starting a YouTube channel, is that you want to look pretty good. Right, dude?
Right, that's true.
So you want to make sure you spend a little bit. Now, maybe if you don't have a big budget, you may be able to start it with just like a simple, lower end microphone, and
then, just work your way up from
a basic soundboard or something like that, like a small little board. And maybe don't start out with XLR mics. Go USB mic to start out with.
Yeah.
Something that's within your budget. But don't be afraid to spend a little bit on your equipment. It doesn't hurt to actually have good equipment and sound good.
Right.
You don't have to be that baller
who
has the fanciest thing out there.
Exactly.
But if you do have some money and you do maybe have a good job, or maybe you can afford a little bit better equipment, do spend a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And of course, number 4, if you are going to brand yourself, don't forget about the marketing and advertising side of it.
Yes, there is if you are going to start a brand, make sure you understand how to market, and maybe do some research about marketing, and then also how to run yourself as a business or how to market yourself as a brand. That is a big thing that a lot of people forget. And yes, it's not as easy as everyone thinks.
No,
marketing yourself as an internet-tainer, or as Rhett Link would say, internet-tainer, or as a YouTuber, or even a blog. It's not as easy as you might think. We've hit our fair share of stumps and bumps across across all the time, across the 7 years that we've been around, and we've also hit our bumps where we don't always agree on stuff. So
we bumped heads. But definitely make sure you also do that. And then number 5, have fun doing it. Don't see it as like an obligated job.
The other thing I'd say is also maybe do it with a friend, because sometimes it's hard to come up with stuff on your own. So having 2 people, you can bounce ideas off of somebody else. So the 2 of us do that a lot, where we alone, we might not be as good as we are when we work together on something.
Right.
But having someone to bounce ideas off of is definitely a plus, and could help you with starting, a blog or YouTube channel or whatever you're starting.
Right, definitely. But yeah, that's pretty much our tips that we got.
Tips and just things experiences that we've been to, gone through, and things that we've done. So guys, if you're looking to start something, and also don't be afraid to reach out to other creators and other people.
And other podcasters that are in the same community.
Other podcasters, other YouTubers, other people that are in that community, because you never know who might be a good help to you, or someone might think of something that you didn't, and you might end up working together and like doing some pretty awesome stuff. So you never know.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, don't be afraid to talk to your local voice actors. If you want to talk to voice actors, go to cons and ask them, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask a question. You know?
Just don't ask the same ones over and over.
Yeah, just don't ask don't ask the same question.
Like how to get into the business, because they've already told you that for the last 20 years. But I guess we could pretty much wrap this one up.
Guys, so that's just a little bit of the advice that we have to people, and just watch out for some of the copyright stuff, especially now with things going on. There are some pretty strict companies out there that are pretty strict on copyright, so just be careful. You don't want to get sued, and you don't want to get in trouble with that kind of stuff. That can really
you don't want your channel to get banned.
Correct, or you don't want to get a strike.
Right.
So anyway, guys, with that, we hope you guys are maybe thinking about starting something, or maybe you're thinking about jumping in with us and helping us out. Whatever the case may be,
all right.
Go for it. And we also hope that you guys will
get over here
and subscribe. Because there's definitely more coming. Anyway, we hope you like this little segment, and we hope maybe we gave you some insights and maybe some ideas.
Yes.
So
until next time.
Yes.
Take care of yourself.
Peace.